In chapter 8 of St. Luke, God speaks that Jesus was healing and teaching, doing all of this, and specifically were mentioned the disciples. Yet we note that that verse ends in a comma. There's more to come. Why? Because the disciples show us that even though you were there, you didn't fully grasp what was going on. So God is about to introduce some women who are also included as being witnesses. The disciples should have been the eyewitnesses who understood what was taking place. Just like they didn't understand about the woman at the well, they also missed understanding the totality of who Jesus is. Therefore, God will not stop at disciples, male disciples. He will include the women. Why? Because as it was in the beginning, is how Jesus would have it to be. That it was not about him. It was about the fact that he created him, male and female, them. And that's what we have to consider. It's not just about the male. It's about them, male and female. Blessings abound. When you consider Genesis chapter 1 and verses 27 and 28, you understand that God created him, male and female, created he them, and God blessed them. So God gives an equal blessing to them. He doesn't bless the male over the female or the female over the male. He blesses them. Really what God is showing us is the blessing of the themness of marriage. They two are one. That's why there's such a vast antagonistic state concerning marriage. The enemy doesn't want marriage because the enemy knows that when you get them together, male and female, wow, God will do miraculous things. Understand the them. Blessings abound. When Jesus communicates, especially in this chapter here, he identifies the women as certain women. This lets us know that it's not every woman. Every woman is not going to have the same quality as certain women. There are certain women who have been scheduled by God to supply need to the ministry of Jesus. Think about that. These women are not home baking and having children and being the wife of. They are out giving of their substance, their finances, whatever they have, to the work, the ministry of Jesus. So we have to understand that the silence of women, the no entry of women beyond a certain portion of the temple, all of that is not in existence when it comes to Jesus. Jesus will use whosoever will. And he used certain women. Blessings abound. One of the women that Jesus used, her name was Susanna. Her name means lily. What we have here, folks, is a lily speaking in reference to Jesus, the lily of the valley. One particular thing about the lily that was amazing, that the bulb is starchy and can be used as food, used as something to deal with inflammation. It deals with respiration, helping. I said, look at this. Jesus is the lily of the valley. That means when we take Jesus into our lives, we ought to be healed. We ought to be soothed. We ought to breathe a bit easier. Why? Because we have partaking of the bread of life. If you don't know Jesus, get to know him today. Receive him as your lily. There will be valleys. Blessings abound. St. Luke chapter 8 begins with the word and. This and causes us, beckons us to go to the previous chapter, chapter 7. And there you see Jesus doing a whole lot of healing. The centurion's son, the woman whose son was dead, touches the coffin, the son sits up. Jesus speaks concerning John the Baptist. Look, how John, the lame walk, the blind see. He tells all of that. The woman with the alabaster box, she blesses, anoints the feet of Jesus. Then chapter 8 begins, and why? Because Jesus wants us to understand that here the disciples have seen all of this happening in chapter 7, and they still miss it. Don't you see God do things in your life, in the lives of your family members, and not understand what is going on? Make sure that when God does a work in your life or in the lives of your friends and family, that you understand it and you go now and tell somebody else about what God has done for you. Blessings abound. What a witness Mary of Magdalene must have been. She was completely full of demons, demonic takeover. Yet when she met Jesus, that takeover became a makeover. God made over her life. Jesus will do that. The healing power of the balm of Gilead can cause demonic spirits to be abated, to have to leave that body. I would say that before we run to medicine, run to God. Could be that Jehovah Jireh has that healing power just for you. If not, He may direct you to physicians. Here's the point. Don't limit what God can do, because He's done it. He has done it before. Ask Mary about it. Blessings abound. I believe that God in His Word shows us exceptions to women be silent, women shouldn't speak, women shouldn't do this and that. He shows us exceptions so that those of us in the year 2025 wouldn't miss it. That there will come a time when men, unfortunately, for whatever reason, would not be there to cover and care for the children. Well, you don't become defeated. That's when there is a woman, there will be a woman who is able to do what must be done for the kingdom and to bring healing to the nation, healing to the people, healing to wherever healing is needed. And so we would never be at a deficit. If there's a lack of whatever, God has already supplied the need. Woman, speak and preach. Blessings abound. Interesting. Jesus does all these miracles in Luke chapter 7. He tells us that the disciples should have known better. They see it all. They should know who He is and what He'll do. Then He brings on the women, and they not only are eyewitnesses, but people look at them and see their changed lives, so they become the witness to the eyewitnesses. And then Jesus goes and gives a parable. Why? Because there has to be clarity of understanding. Somebody missed it. So He talks about the seed. Everybody knows about the seed. And there are different gradients, different types of seed. Some seed will fall on the ground, never give root, no moisture. They get choked out by thorns. Then there is the seed that reproduces mega fruit. And the question is, what kind of seed are you? Will you allow someone to choke you out of receiving Jesus? Will you allow someone to rip the moisture out of your life, thereby disabling your speech? No. Instead, be good ground. Receive the word of Jesus. Let it take root. Spring up and spring forth. Be a witness to somebody about what God has done for you. Blessings abound.